Hi everyone. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Shivani.
Hi Narmada. Thanks for joining as well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good as well. How's the day going? How's it been?
Yeah, going good. Just traveling scene, just like you.
Yeah, at work. I'm so glad you decided to join us for today's live. As I'm sure our viewers know, it's about supporting pregnancy at work. So obviously we will get into how, employers and like other colleagues should support pregnant women. But before that, obviously it's very important as, you will insist in a bit to understand how, what pregnant women go through during pregnancy in terms of mental health. So without any further ado, I think, I would like you to just shed a little bit light upon, how does one's mental health get affected when they're pregnant?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I'm clinical psychologist Narmada from CareMe, and today, as Shivani said, we are going to just discuss about a very simple topic, which is related to your pregnancy and pregnancy related to your workplace and how you can manage it, and some of the tips regarding your fertility and your stress as well. Let's start with the basic thing on mental health. See, pregnancy itself is going to affect everybody, every woman, and it differs from one woman to another. Everyone has a different amount of physiological and psychological stress. Okay, so there are also people who struggle to even get pregnant nowadays. It is not so easy. They undergo a lot of treatments and all those things. So in such case, when a person is already in job and she is struggling to get pregnant, so and once after all those treatments she gets pregnant, and then she has a fear that if she may have to quit the job, or the pregnancy may affect the job because she may not be financially sound, so she may have to work for the sake of running the family. But there are few people who undergo a lot of physiological illness, so they have to take a bed rest or some of the physical thing which is going on. So it is never going to be the same for everybody. And let's see how pregnancy affects our mental changes. Okay, so obviously you will be undergoing mood changes. Okay, mood changes occur because of the physical stress, your fatigueness, which undergo in your metabolism, and also the hormones fluctuating, especially the estrogen and the progesterone. Okay, so it keeps fluctuating for every woman, and that is something very common. But the levels of fluctuating affects their psychological health. That is the thing. And when your estrogen gets affected, your thyroid levels get affected. Again, the people who have thyroid have to track their thyroid levels continuously, and that in turn affects their pregnancy. So, are there people, and there are many people who undergo anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression occurs because this may be their very first pregnancy, or for some people who may have unplanned pregnancy, they again have anxiety. And if they are not willing to continue the pregnancy, they are again surrounded with the societal pressure, the family pressure, and all those things. So that in turn affects their psychological health. So, how does pregnancy affect a person? Is affect the baby, especially is there are chances for the baby to be born as a preterm baby, or the baby's weight may be very less, or the physiological or the psychological development may be lagging if the mother doesn't have a sound mental health during the pregnancy. Okay, so yeah, now let's see about the fertility itself. As I said earlier, there are people who undergo fertility issues. Okay. At present, they undergo a lot of treatment and they keep recurrently going for treatments, and they also go for doctor shopping. All these are because of family pressures or out of their interest itself, or they are scared of being labeled that the person is not unable to get pregnant. We do not know about the rest other countries, but here in India, the same thing is followed even after a lot of things have been changed. Okay, so in that case, becoming pregnant itself is stressful for them. And once again, after getting pregnant, if they continue to be stressful, the signals which are to be sent to the brain, that is the neurotransmitters, itself get affected. So the proper signals are not sent to the ovaries and their brains, which in turn affects their ovulation. Okay. So again, they again get back to the depression, and that depression almost lasts for at least a week or minimum a month, mostly for any women. Okay, so in that case, when you are finding difficult to get pregnant, certain things which you have to learn is you need to educate about the pregnancy itself. First, you have to educate yourself about the treatment which is going to be done for you. The treatment, again, they're going to start with the basic pregnancy treatment. It is not going to be the IVF in the very first attempt itself. So also also the person, the women who is trying for pregnancy has to communicate with the same people who are undergoing the same process. So it will give them some type of positive energy and some amount of positivity in them, and they also won't be having the feeling of like, oh, okay, it is not only me who is undergoing the process, and there are many people who are like me. Okay, and you also have to communicate your feelings to your spouse, especially, who is the major person who is going to be throughout your pregnancy. Of course, the gynecologist is going to be there, your parents are going to be there, everybody is going to support you, but almost 80% of protection and care is to be given from the spouse side. So you need to talk to your partner regarding how you feel about it, and always make sure you do not have any conflict regarding this pregnancy process or the treatment. Okay, so it is always better to avoid conflict with your spouse and communicate very clearly what do you mean, or any other psychological or physiological effort, burdens you are facing it out, you can obviously share it with him. And the other thing is you can have some relaxation techniques can be taken by you. Say, for example, muscle relaxation techniques. It is not like you have to do the entire procedure, but just the basic things are enough. Okay. Also, breathing techniques will be very helpful for the pregnant women. Okay. And other thing is, like, you have to always have track of your the food intake which you take. Especially, I would suggest you to take a healthy diet. It is not like or just random junk foods. When you are planning for your pregnancy and you have a lot of complications in getting pregnant itself, make sure you eat healthy food, and also make sure you don't have a sedentary lifestyle. Just you can do the basic exercises. That doesn't mean that you have to do all the weightlifting and all those things. Just the basic common exercises you can do, and always have a proper sleep. Sleep cycle has to be maintained for not only for people who is trying to get pregnant. It is something very common for everybody. Okay, when your sleep cycle is affected, including me, the entire process gets affected. Okay, so, and also you need to know to deal with the sexual stress. Sexual stress, again, it is completely based on yourself and your partner. Okay, so talk about your sexual life and communicate to him very openly, and this is what you want, and what you expect from the partner has to be very clearly told. And again, make sure you don't affect your partner's mental health, like pinpointing something or anything. Okay. So
Yeah.
and there are many people who undergo treatment, no, like they just have sex for the namesake of getting pregnant. No, that itself is something very, very, very wrong. Okay, you normally have to enjoy your sexual life instead of putting a pressure or stress again in having your sexual life. Okay, and I'm sorry. And the other thing is, when you are undergoing treatment, it is always better to have a break in between. It is not like continuously going for your treatments. There are many people who keep continuously going for treatment, or they keep changing the doctor. Like if they are not getting pregnant within 2 or 3 attempts, they immediately get shifted to another doctor, and in result they come to me. Okay, I'm feeling very stressful. I consulted this doctor, that doctor, nobody helped me. This is what is going on. Always, in case even after 2 to 3 attempts, you are finding difficult to get pregnant, better take a break, go have a vacation, or have a vacation. That doesn't mean that you need to spend an amount of money and go somewhere worldwide. Just a small vacation.
Just break out
Okay.
of that routine, you mean?
Yes, just take a breath from all these treatment and all those things. Even while, yeah, even while having a sexual life, I want to mention this is like just talk something about. It is not again going to be your exactly sexual wellness you're going to talk about with your partner. Just talk about random things. You can just discuss about the day-to-day events which happened, and let things happen beyond that. It is not like you should force things. Okay, so how these are some ways to cope with your infertility, and the other thing is how stress affects your pregnancy. Yes, stress affects pregnancy apart from your physiological and other things. There are people who may get pregnant after a lot of miscarriages. Okay, so those type of so that women will definitely have a fear of whether this pregnancy at least will continue, or again it is going to end up. Or some people have a fear like there were n number of miscarriages, and will that affect this baby? Either in the physical development or psychological development, there are many people who have that fear. And there are people, again, if it is going to be an unplanned pregnancy, again, they have all those stress whether to continue it, or if they are again going to continue the pregnancy. It is, since it is an unplanned one, they again have a lot of stress in the sense they have that fear. And nowadays, since it is normally a nuclear family, people don't have elders with them. Of course, they do hang out with their in-laws and their parents, but still, on the whole, they are left alone. Maybe because of their financial thing, they keep working and all those things, or the elders are not able to accompany them because of their physical illness and other things. So it is only the couple, the newly married couple, or the young couple who is left all alone. Okay, so in that case, they don't have enough amount of environmental support that they have through communication through their phone, but they don't have people surrounding them. Okay, so that again, it is going to be a stressful one. And if the woman is a single parent, maybe she is a widow, or she has been separated from her husband, or is completely divorced, it is going to be very, very stressful for her, because if she is the one who is going to manage financially throughout the pregnancy, it is a very, very, very big burden for that woman. Okay, so in all these cases, it is definitely the concerned person has to communicate it with the mental health professional, as well as the gynecologist herself. Okay, the gynecologist must know what are all these psychological changes the pregnant women is going on. Okay, also the family, about the family as well. And the other type of stress in pregnancy is if the pregnant woman is a teenager. Okay, there are a lot of unmarried pregnancies going on nowadays. Okay, I have also seen a lot of cases almost around 10 years back. Okay, there are n number of teenage girls who are pregnant, who are getting pregnant, and they continue the pregnancy because if they abort the child, it is going to be a very serious complication for them as well as the child. So in such case, they, for no matter whether they are willing or not, they continue the pregnancy just to live, just to avoid the death of the mother or the baby. Okay, so in that case, a lot of thing the teenage girl faces, a lot of violence, maybe from the parent side itself. How long do they going to support them? In one day or the other, the parent is definitely going to pinpoint the child. This is not the way to get pregnant or something. Well, just think of the family. What would other people? Just think of the society. What would they say? And all those things. So these are some amount of stresses which the pregnant women undergoes. So other than this, how the pregnancy stress affects the baby? Yes, it affects the baby like the normally people say the vibration is being surrounded by the baby. Let it be a positive one or a negative one. That is why they keep saying to talk positive words. Even while watching something in your screen, let it be something very, very positive. Normally, they do say to avoid the news channels which are giving negative news. Instead, just brush out with some comedies or something. Even if it is going to be a movie which you're going to watch, let it be some romantic movie or something like that, or some comedy movies instead of horror or any other movies which make you cry, which makes the person more emotional. So all these things will be taken by the baby itself in the womb.
Yeah.
Okay, so child can feel the environment which is being faced by the mother. So it doesn't mean that no couple fights during pregnancy. Yes, they do fight. They have some quarrels, but you have to know the level. Okay, just imagine if the spouse keeps yelling or the pregnant woman itself keeps yelling for no matter for some issue, that definitely is going to affect the child's growth both physically as well as psychologically. There are n amount of special children who, special children doesn't. I cannot say that it is only because of the psychological stress, but psychological stress is one of the thing which causes special children and all. Okay, so now today's topic is how can we deal with the stress at our workplace? At workplace, when comparatively, where in though comparative to to earlier days, now there are a lot of options, especially after the corona. You have the options of work from home. Even before corona, I've seen people who had the option of working from home, pregnant women, but not every company suggests that. Okay, not every company. Yes, not every company allows that. Okay, so some of the options, if the person is going to is if the pregnant woman is working in person from the company itself, then she can have a break in between. Okay, they may be flexible, or you can definitely approach the manager if you are not able to manage the stress. If you find the work pressure is exceeding the level, then you can definitely talk to the manager and explain what the situation is. Because not every, as I said earlier, not every woman has a smooth pregnancy. Everybody have some amount of complications. So
Yeah.
that complication level can be spoken to the manager, and there are some techniques which can be followed, like yes, often taking breaks in between and communicating to your peer about. No, it is not like communicating about the same pregnancy itself, just having a small chat, diverting with. It is not like you have to talk about the pregnancy, or it is not like you have to completely talk about the work itself. just a common chat about some general topic or something. It is not like, again, it is not like prolong you have to talk. Just a 5 minute chat. Just a 5 minute chat. And if you're finding difficult to sit in a place throughout, you can just go for a walk. You can just walk somewhere. You can get some natural air. Okay. So, and some of the other thing is like normally people don't have that night shift and all. No, night shift, especially when when women is pregnant. But some may have a shift itself, like from noon shift to night shift. Some may have. In the sense, it is not like they're completely working in the night. The shift varies. So in that case, it is up to the person to manage their appetite. I mean their appetite, their food, the food cycle itself gets affected. It will be possible if they take that work from home option. Okay, if the person has to definitely come to the office itself, they can suggest for at least weekly thrice work from home and twice they can go in person. Because why I say a work from home is some type of emotional or positive support will be available when you are working from home. Okay, even if you need some physical relaxation, it will be even more comfortable for the pregnant women to sit at home and do that rather than being at the office. Okay. And some people may have maybe working like in some financially low people, like they may work in some shop like where they have to stand for a long time. Let's assume if they are working in some textile shop and all, it is going to be a very difficult task. Okay, but still it is not just the IT company managers understand. Even here there are people who do understand the burden faced by the pregnant women, so they can have some options of going and taking some rest, just sitting for a while and asking some other women to take care of the thing for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. And people who work in chemical exposure, that can be avoided actually. Okay, that itself is again a burden. Okay, so how can I reduce my stress while I'm being pregnant? How can I reduce it? One of the first thing is being mindful. Okay, you definitely have to be mindful. You have to live in that moment and always keep a track of the trigger. The everybody has stress. Okay, but we need to know about the triggering factor which causes stress. Definitely, we will be able to track the triggering factor. So when you are aware of that, you can definitely avoid it or just leave that place at least for temporarily. If it is not the permanent one, at least for temporarily, you can avoid that. And don't put too much of work stress, your work pressure then and there. Okay, just take some amount of rest and schedule your works. Actually, if possible, you can schedule your works and you can do it in a step by step process. And again, I'm telling you, eating well, normally everyone suggests you to eat healthy during your pregnancy. Okay, so eating healthy, the nutritious food which you eat definitely gives you a sound mental health. Okay, so and some of the regular exercises, normally nowadays there are some IT companies who support yoga at the workplace itself for pregnant women. Also, there are people, I mean, there are some clinics, I mean, some gynecological clinic where they definitely make it a, they make the pregnant women attend the yoga classes, or also they also give some parental tips and all those things. These things can help them to reduce stress. And practicing yoga, definitely yoga and meditation. It is not necessarily completely yoga too. You can also do some 10-minute meditation once after you wake up from your place. All these are some of the amount to reduce your stress. And how peers can support. Obviously, there are nowadays people do understand what pregnancy is, and they can definitely support the pregnant women, like they can share their work. Maybe it is not like completely dumping your work stuff on the other person, but maybe around 30% the other person can share, and the rest 70 can be done by the pregnant women itself. Okay, so these are some of the tips which can be handled during your work, I mean, at your workplace. And at home, you definitely have to share your work pressure with your spouse, number one, and your in-laws or your family members, whoever is present. Whatever difficulty you are facing, you definitely have, I mean, at your workplace, you definitely have to communicate it with your gynecologist as well, not just with the manager, but with the gynecologist. And at workplace, what managers can do is they can give some leisure amount, leisure time for the pregnant women. And they can, it is not like completely following the strict rules which is given by the office. Instead, they can be flexible with the time. If in case they do not have any other work, maybe they can leave earlier or something like that. And if the person is having appointments in the afternoon or something, maybe the manager can be more flexible. It is not like they can give half day work or something like that. Okay. And the other thing what manager can do is, a management can do is like some amount of music therapy can be provided. These are some of the tips which can be helpful for them, but we cannot force the management to do this and do that. These are some of the uh, things which will be helpful for pregnant women to take over. And that doesn't mean that only work is a stress. At home also, pregnant women face a stress. Say, for example, if this is your second pregnancy, then obviously you have another child at home. So it is not just, maybe if, say for example, if it is the first child, once after you leave the office, at home you can take some rest. But if it is your second or third pregnancy, you definitely have to show some amount of attention to the first child, obviously. That in turn again shows a lot of things, like that sibling rivalry and all, once after the other one is born. And spending a lot of time with the first child itself is a stress buster. Okay, sharing, talking about the child's, if the child is the school going child, you can share about, you can, the child can share about its school work and all those things, and you can help the child in academics or something. So always, but many people who is working find it more stressful when they have when they have another child, because they have to balance both the other child as well. It is like they cannot come back and take rest. Okay, but it is up to the pregnant women to manage both, like manage in the sense, make opportunity by sharing those valuable moments with the child as a stress buster, rather than taking it as another responsibility or a job which is to be done as a mother or something. Okay, so these are some of the ways how stress can be handled at home as well as at your workplace. Yeah, Shivani, if you want to ask any questions, or anyone wants to ask some question, can definitely ask me.
Definitely. So I think that was so insightful, Narmada, and thank you so much for sharing these tips with us. I'm sure, people watching and who it really relates to, it must be I'm sure they're going to find it very useful. Obviously, I'm not in that situation myself, but I would definitely share it with someone that I know who is going through this. Just one thing I would like to maybe understand. So you explained so well and in so much depth that, the tips that, pregnant women could do, or their partners could do, and their families could do to support women during the time of pregnancy, and so that they don't feel that much stress. So what happens, like how would that woman know? Maybe it's, let's say it's someone who hasn't really felt stress, but because of this pregnancy, there's obviously so much going on in their body as well, different things they're experiencing with so many things, like how would a pregnant woman know that what they're also feeling is stress? Would you like to share, like, how they can, some pointers or some markers how a woman can tell that they are, stressed?
Yeah. See, like I said earlier, I also told you about there is a saturation level. Everyone undergoes stress. Okay, the saturation level has to be tracked. Normally, they will know, like, say, for example, if it is me, then I will know, okay, fine, okay, this is the limit, and this is what the thing is happening. Say, for pregnant women, there may be some physiological changes itself, which would be
Yeah.
warning alarm. Okay, some may have palpitations. We do not know. It varies actually. Some may have palpitations, and some may have physical changes. Like, say, for example, if they are living in a, I mean, if they are working in a desktop time is a lengthy one, then some may have swollen legs and all those things. These are some of the physiological things which are present. And psychologically, obviously, that irritable mood, their mood swings, and but it has to be told by someone. At that moment, they may react just all of a sudden. Okay, but that has to be that can be tracked by someone else. I mean, if you're going to show your anger towards me, maybe you may not be aware of the anger or the amount of that. Okay, every time I cannot say Shivani has to make a note of it. Okay,
Hmm.
only the other person who is facing can understand. Okay, but me as being a therapist, maybe I may be able to understand the situation, but not every time the other person understands the thing being being undergone by the pregnant women. Okay, but normally these are some of the physiological and psychological warning alarms which can be tracked actually.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful. Obviously, like you said, it varies. So I think that you as, an individual, I think, if you're pregnant, you will have to, as much as you can, keep in mind, the changes that you're feeling on a daily basis. And again, communicating is very, important in any case. So
Definitely ventilate. Whatever you're feeling, you definitely have to ventilate, especially with your spouse.
exactly. And maybe the spouse themselves can, communicate this to the wife, like, in a very, very sensitive way. I'm sure, you will be very reactive when you're pregnant and someone's telling you, why are you so angry? Maybe because, they're growing someone inside themselves. So I think in a very sensitive way, if, people can point out, I think that's quite useful. Thanks for sharing that. So again, support is key during pregnancy as well. Obviously, if some, like you said, some teenagers who would have unplanned pregnancies, they may not have that support, then I guess, it will be up to them and professionals who support them to give them that support, right? So
Yeah,
obviously, as you said, yeah,
and there are also like maternity leaves which are given for pregnant women, right? And
yeah,
nowadays there are also for fathers as well. So all those
yeah, I
can
think that
be
should help,
useful. Yeah.
yeah, especially when you
I
have
think
another
they get
kid
paid
already.
actually. They get paid leaves actually.
Yeah, or maybe, like, I'm thinking, like, what if they both, opt for work from home if they already have a kid at home and, another pregnancy. So it would be so helpful. I'm thinking just, from that point of view, that the child can have, like, both the parents there, and then the responsibilities can be, shared by both of them and decrease the level of stress that the family as a whole feels as well. That would be very helpful as well, as you shared. So what happens, if a woman before their pregnancy has been dealing with these things? I think this was not something that came up. So just wanting to, let our viewers also understand, like, in case there's a woman who's already dealing with depression, anxiety, or other mental health challenges, so is there something they would feel differently, or should they keep something in mind, for their pregnancy, that some things maybe they should expect, during the course of pregnancy? Like, would it be different for these women as opposed to those who may not have had mental health challenges?
Yes. Well, that's a good question. Actually, it is going to be challenging for them. Okay, so for those people, they have to track both their mental health thing, their mental health, their mental wellness. I mean, mental wellness, since, say, for example, if they have been diagnosed with depression, that has to be handled first
Hmm.
along with the pregnancy. So that is going to be very, very challenging. In case if they are taking medicines, if they are under medication for depression and all, and they are getting pregnant, they definitely have to consult their psychiatrist who have prescribed with the medication as well as the gynecologist. They should have a complete link between both of them. Okay, and for those people, all type of supports are must. Psychosocial support and everything has to be. They have to be completely psychoeducated about the depression, their medications, as well as the pregnancy as well.
Yeah,
So it is
I
going to
agree.
be very, very, very challenging for a person with mental illness along with pregnancy.
Right. So then I guess, it would be very helpful for them to have someone who can help them through this time, to alleviate their stress, obviously, because
Exactly.
that's a condition they already deal with. So having someone, a family or someone in your circle
Yes,
share that.
exactly. Other than the couple, it will be fine if they have some support from very close elder in sense like in-laws. Let it be for the father-in-law for the this first mother-in-law for the spouse or any other very, very, very close elder who is trustworthy person. It is not like to any person you cannot share everything because if
Yeah.
the person is already diagnosed with mental illness, still there is a
Mhm.
stigma in our society.
Very.
Okay, so if it is, yeah, so if it is a very close one, it will be very fun.
Right. Yes, I'm definitely sure. So, of course, they can use those tips as well as this separately, to keep in mind, definitely, because it is challenging anyway, but, a bit extra challenging, I think,
Yes.
if you're all dealing with something. So, is there any special provisions for, women with like mental health challenges that you know of that you could, educate us about, or like something that the authorities, our government may have, planned for women who work as well as, are dealing with, have a pregnancy.
Okay. See, pregnant women with mental health issues, I think government is actually providing a certain amount of policies which are completely under the government's thing. When I was a student, I mean, as an intern, I met a pregnant woman who was completely mentally ill. Okay, we are not sure because they did not disclose the entire case. We do not know if she is by birth she is mentally ill in the sense mentally challenged person who got pregnant by some other fall thing or once after she got pregnant she was left by the spouse and then she had mental health issues. We are not aware of that. Okay, she was like completely left. Okay, even she did not have any family support itself. Okay, she was left in a home. Okay, so for those people, I guess that there are a lot of government subsidies. Uh,
Yeah.
when I was in intern, yes, they did tell me, but now I'm not that aware of that.
Yeah. Outside of government subsidies, I'm sure which exist, but there are also non-governmental organizations actually,
Yes,
that I'm aware
yes,
of
yes.
that help, women and single mothers, in fact, or women who are pregnant and in the, sort of works of getting like vocational training to become financially independent and, gain those skills to be able to support their future child as well. And this is just something that people can just go online, but there are also like a lot of SHGs, meaning self-help groups, supporting women and their children to become that independent unit of family structure, because a lot of the times you don't see a single woman and their child as a complete family unit, right? Because we
Yes, yes.
the question that comes to our mind is that, oh, but you're just a mother and a child, like where's the father, right? I mean, obviously with all the other taboos that there are to be
Yes.
tackled, this is one thing. And while the mother, is trying to work and be financially independent, there's also this big thing that they have to deal with. So I know of so many women from lower income backgrounds who have to pretend to be married, right, to get those.
Yes.
But there are so many non-governmental organizations. I'm so happy to know that all over India, actually, who support single women become financially independent. So I think even if like there's not a lot right now that programs, well-structured programs to support them through our government, I think there are definitely these organizations that help women and their
But
children
it's
become.
very challenging, Shivani. Say, for example, if the person whom I mentioned itself, she is completely mentally ill. Okay, so she doesn't even know that she is even pregnant. She is like she's not even aware that she is
Yeah.
pregnant. Just imagine how the NGO is going to handle the situation with the delivery, and again, the child is going to be left over without any adequate mother's care and affection. Actually, because
Have
she
to
doesn't.
go into the system and get, wait to get adopted, which is again an impossibility in India,
Obviously.
as we know, you know. So that's quite sad. Like there should definitely be, structures in place for women, special cases just, of people who are dealing with this and also have another life to take care of. But I'm so glad to see that there are so many like, companies, organizations now that actually have foreseen this and want the well-being of their employees, so at least they are able to provide that for them in even in that small unit. But it's happening, change is happening, like how we
Yes.
always like try to do this at the end, like there is definitely still some positive, and if not, on a very large national scale, it's happening, with companies bringing
Very, very
changes.
high
And
amount. When comparing to those days, it is like somewhat fine.
yeah, exactly. Now women can think of actually, still having a career and
Yes.
becoming pregnant and going towards that route, even though it's still quite difficult, I would say. But yes, it's something that families are even supporting themselves to
Yes.
women to sort of achieve, because without support, it's quite challenging. And hats off to anyone who's doing that. You know as well. So I think that's all I had to say. And I think you covered all the topics related to this particular topic so well. Thank you, Narmada, for joining us and, informing us about so many of these things that we definitely didn't know. I'm sure our viewers must have learned a lot from this session. And I would just like to open the session to, any comments that our viewers would have about this particular topic, which is supporting pregnancy at work. Obviously, while also dealing with mental health concerns, because that is the platform we are. Any questions, Narmada would be happy to take them. And we can just maybe wait around for a bit and see if there's anyone who would like to ask us anything. And I think if there's anything in the meanwhile you would like to add, Narmada, then please go ahead.
Um, as of now.
You have shared quite a bit. I think, yes, that's actually it's been very insightful, this session. So I think, I don't know if there are any questions. Maybe another
Okay.
few seconds we can wait.
Yeah,
But
sure.
I don't think there will
Yeah, sure.
be.
Definitely we can wait now.
Yeah, but it's
So
still fine,
you
guys.
have
If you feel
any,
shy, dropping a comment
share
here.
any of your experience regarding the same topic.
Absolutely. Do share with us, even right now, if you feel that you don't want to drop a comment here, it's completely fine. You want to think about it and then share with us. This live will be posted on our platform and we can, we will be going through the comments. So please drop a comment when it's posted. Any questions you have about it, because we definitely support mental health concerns, related to this as well. So you can come seek support through our platform, through our very, very, experienced psychiatrists and therapists like Narmada. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there is any question yet, Narmada. I think we can take leave. We'll
Yeah, sure.
definitely look up
Sure.
the
Yeah.
comments.
So Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you Shivani and thank you Ram Kumar sir and everybody, the entire CAMI team for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. So see you all in the next webinar.
All right. Thank you, Narmada, for joining. Thanks
Thank
everyone for watching. Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.